Hello, welcome to PlayStation Access, my name's Rob, and welcome back to the Tuesday Checklist, the weekly feature where we natter about games for a bit and pretend it's actual work. We've been playing lots of Don't Starve again recently after being reminded of its existence by the Don't Starve Mega Pack, and it really is a brilliant game, the first we ever Let's Played on the channel, if you fancy checking that out. But anyway, it got us thinking about all those other underrated gems we completely fell in love with. Nath, you're up first with a game you all should play.
Okay, so underrated game that just one of the ones that I really fell in love with that I wasn't expecting to on PlayStation 4 was Dying Light, which is one of my favourite games. Came from kind of nowhere. It's weird because Techland, the studio behind it, you know, they put out some really nice CG trailers, and there's always that feeling when a CG trailer comes out and you're like, this is lovely. And if you were making a movie about zombies, I'd be very excited, but you know, what's the game actually going to be like? And we got early code, and that was kind of the first sign, an early version of the game. The first sign really there was like more to it, there was like enough to get lost in. And I think the reason that I really like Dying Light, unusually, probably more than it is good, you know, normally the two are kind of level. This is good and I like it this much. Like Dying Light's like, and I like it like this much, I like it loads. And I think it's because there are kind of little cracks in the game where it kind of just lets you do weird stuff, just kind of explore, whether it's like customizing the weapons, or there's like quite a big emphasis on, I mean, it's mad. There's like, I mean, the famous line, which hopefully we'll be able to dig out now because it sounds better when the character says it. This guy's really stressed about being like the leader of the survivors. And he says, I'm not a leader, I'm a goddamn parkour instructor. I'm a goddamn parkour instructor. So the game's got like a big emphasis on parkour. Just, I guess, because at some point in the mid-noughts, you know, or the beginning of this kind of development period, like parkour's quite cool, isn't it? Like people wearing split-toe shoes and running around. Put that together with zombies, I mean, come on. And that's what the game did. And so there's like this big traversal climbing mechanic. And in the version of the game we had, I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to climb. There was like the bridge that goes over to the part of the map, which the second part of the map, which in the preview kind of build that we had, it wasn't available. But I was kind of like, you know, how far? So it kind of led to this question: how much can I climb up this bridge? Am I supposed to be climbing up this, or is it a bit like the equivalent of like a Skyrim mountain, where you're just like hopping up the side, and it's, you know, obviously not really what the game wants you to do. So I kind of like, I don't know, the open-endedness of that made me learn more about the game than I think I would have done anyway. And then I just really liked living in the world of that game. Like I really got what the game improves as you go on, because it's this really, you know, like so many games are user friendly these days. This game, as you level up your parkour ability, the game literally gets better to play. Like the controls are worse at the beginning, like you fall off stuff, and you can't like nip around zombies as nimbly and with such agility. So the game's getting better and better. And there's something about the soundtrack, which is like this, it's like basically like a John Carpenter sound-alike soundtrack. So it's got this like quite moody synth stuff coming over, like this apocalyptic, I don't know even where you are, like if you're in the Middle East or South America, I don't know if it's ever made clear. It's a quite strange setting. And I don't know, something about Dying Light that just completely, and I went mad for it. And I'm still on the way to the platinum. Not quite there yet. But
is this why you wear split-toed shoes now?
Yeah, it's why I parkour everywhere, Dave. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, you'll see me scaling the outside of the office to come in for filming.
Yeah, the only time I see you use a chair is in these videos.
Yeah, so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not actually using it. I'm a millimetre above the chair. I'm just tensed. It's an extreme squat. It's what the parkour guys call it. Dying Light, everybody. It's really good. If I was going to give it a rating, I could not give it more than probably a 7 out of 10. But I would play the heck out of that game, still am. It's great, love it.
My game is a game that was brought back into my life very recently by PS Plus. God bless you, PS Plus. It's, I think, depending on when this video goes live, I think it's still available now as one of your monthly free games if you are definitely in the UK at least, and it's Mad Max, which I believe was kind of, now I can't remember, we were talking about this, right, Rob? I think that it was released at a time where something, unfortunately for it, much bigger, which might have been The Witcher 3.
I remember it was Phantom Pain.
Was it Phantom Pain?
Yeah, it was up against a real big hitter.
It was released alongside Phantom Pain, and unfortunately I think people were in a frenzy about Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, and less so about Mad Max, which is a shame because it's a brilliant game, and maybe if it had been released at a slightly different time, it would have got more attention. I think it's very well liked, but I'm not sure as many people played it as may have. And I played it at the time, thought it was brilliant, and then I think I started playing Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain. And this month, being a PS Plus monthly game, I started playing it again, and it's just fantastic. And I just want to make sure that people know that what's brilliant about it is that it's a huge game. It's a huge open world game, and people love those. And there are so many different things to have fun with in it. I don't think that's a very good sentence, but and that's all been brought back to me as I've started playing it again. First of all, it has excellent combat, which is like Batman-esque, like lots of parrying. Lots of melee. You have weapons, but they're quite rare. It's a game about, you know, a post-apocalyptic world where everything is rare. So yeah, it's got amazing combat, but it's also got brilliant car combat, and that's like a huge thing. Your car like rams into people, which is really, really fun. There's like a ram button for that little, I mean, maybe, you know, not entirely realistic, but brilliant, where you kind of shunt people from the side, or you like tee them up and you hit them right in the side for the ultimate T-bone and just destroy their car. Your car has a harpoon on it, so you can pull off specific components. You can pull men out of the car, you can pull the tires off, you can, like, you know, you can pull off like the bonnet and just all bits of the car, which is really, really fun. You can shoot like their fuel canister with your shotgun and make them explode. It's like, I don't know, like everybody enjoys, in a game like GTA 5 or whatever, driving around and ramming cars into other cars, but that's not really car combat, that's just playing the game, you know, in that way, whereas this is built into the game. Like, car combat is a big thing. Mad Max's car is a big thing, and it's really, really fun, and you're in this huge, like, surprisingly beautiful desert world. I mean, a desert is just kind of brown, and it's sort of, I just find it like really, really imaginative. Things like being on an ancient seabed. I say ancient, it's not really an ancient seabed. It's like, it's meant to be contemporary to us. Like a seabed, like at one point I'm pretty sure you were driving around what must have been like the Great Barrier Reef, like dead coral reefs, and you're in like a valley. Like, they've made this world that's actually surprisingly beautiful and interesting. Like, I really like how you notice things and you recognise things and you think about them in the context of the modern world. And I guess in a way, like, I mean, that it is making a statement about our world, Rob, about the Great Barrier Reef. You see it dried up, and it made me think that would be awful, and maybe I should do more to make sure that doesn't happen. But first, I'm going to finish Mad Max. It's just a really exactly, yeah. It's a really, really good, fun game. And I hope enough people realise that, and you should definitely play it. It's just driving around like a huge world, ramming into cars and shooting bad men who are definitely bad, and so I get to feel good about it and making my car better all the time, and uncovering the mystery about what happened to our world. It's good.
So, an underrated game that I sort of fell in love with, it was originally a mobile game, but it came out on PS4, and I think it came out on Vita last year, so pick it up on Vita. And it's called Oceanhorn.
I remember you saying us about this.
Its Metacritic for console is not fantastic.
Okay.
But I absolutely fell in love with it. It's a little indie game. It's got music in it by Nobuo Uematsu and Ito-san. So Ito-san did the Mana series. I know I'm looking at you. But Romancing Saga and the Mana series, he did music for that, and obviously Nobuo Uematsu, Final Fantasy. So straight away, this little indie title has got two of the biggest names in JRPG composing for it, which is insane. It's so bright and colourful and beautiful, and you go through the islands, proper dungeon crawling with the tough boss battle at the end. Nice. Loads of secrets to unlock and things to collect, and a really nice story to go along with it. I absolutely fell in love with it, and I didn't like the older SNES dungeon crawlers when I was younger. I was never into them. I didn't get into it until PS1, you know, N64 days. So for me, this game was just like, maybe this is what I missed out in my childhood. But I do think, and I see it in the comments whenever I talk about Oceanhorn, people are like, oh, but it used to be a mobile game. Yeah, I get that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because it's been made for a controller now, so we're okay. But people will instantly dismiss it, and it is just old school dungeon platforming crawling on, well, not just PS4, on Vita as well. So you can literally just have it with you. Because I still adore my Vita. And it's on its way home, by the way.
What do you mean?
I left it on the plane.
What?
I left my Vita on the plane.
Which
when I got
plane?
back from God of War, the Norway event.
No
You said
way.
you loved your Vita.
I put it in the front pocket of the seat in front of me. And as I was getting home and packing, you know, you just like, I don't remember putting it back.
Yeah. And what happened?
So I tweeted Air Norway being like, have you seen, like, can you help?
My precious child.
Please, no, I was like, please,
I'm
like,
on the plane.
it's got one of my memory cards in it, all my saves, including my Final Fantasy X save, and my Persona 4 Golden save is on that card.
Oh, no.
It had my brand new Atomy game that came out that week in it. It's like a physical game was in it, and my copy of Oceanhorn as well, my playthrough for that as well. So I tweeted them, they never replied. But a nice indie developer.
But you're verified.
I know, I'm exactly Rob, that's what I thought. But a nice indie developer messaged me back saying his dad works groundside at Gatwick for Air Norway. And he'll have a little look for me.
No way.
2 hours later,
Wow.
Dad's got your Vita.
That's
That was
the power
amazing.
of
That could have
Twitter.
been easily stolen by...
Anyone. Well, I mean, if you've seen my Vita, Rob, you wouldn't steal it. Like, it's had a hard life, God bless it. I don't take a lot of care of it. But now I can carry on playing Oceanhorn, which is massively underrated, and you should totally play it because it's amazing and not just a clone. Get it, it's so good.
I am tempted.
You should.
I'm tempted.
Pretty little world, nice music.
So a game that I feel is underrated, or maybe not underrated, it probably is. Like, it got lots of 7s out of 10,
Right.
but I thought it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. On PS2, Jade Cocoon 2.
My favourite of the Jade Cocoons.
Yes, it's only 2.
Right, yeah.
You tried.
I
Didn't get me on
Sound
here.
was fine.
Maybe there was a Jade Cocoon 3, but if there was, it was so low-key, I never even heard of it.
Really?
Jade Cocoon 1, I think, was actually regarded as a better game than Jade Cocoon 2, but something about Jade Cocoon 2 I just loved. It is an RPG,
Shock.
a turn-based RPG
Shock.
about collecting monsters
Okay.
and growing them. You have like a grid, and
Like
it's
Pokemon?
got a bit,
Digimon.
sort of. It's got a grid. How many? 1, 2, 3, 6, 8. You've got 8 monsters on this spherical grid,
Okay.
and you've got 3 of them in front of you at any one time, and you can rotate the grid.
Yeah.
And you've got like a water side, a fire side, a grass side, and a wind side,
And these
an
are
air
all
side.
your monsters.
And these are your monsters,
Right.
and you go through battling other trainers with them, and certain elements are stronger against other elements.
Uh-huh.
You know, we know what it's about.
I get it.
And you collected the monsters, and then you could breed them together and create like super versions of these monsters. And as they got better and better, they'd be able to evolve into like bigger forms. And it was
They
just
didn't love each other.
then they were a bad match.
Right. Oh, is that a thing?
There were, yeah.
That's good.
So if you get 2 monsters of the same type, they'd be really compatible, and you would get like a big boost, and they'd be able to evolve, you know, straight away. Whereas if you did it with monsters they weren't compatible with, it would take ages to get them to their ultimate power levels.
Got you.
And it was just a great. I got so addicted to managing my team of monsters, and like I wrote a list of like my dream team. Like they were really rare monsters. I think they're called Dracs, like dragon type monsters. I just wanted the monsters that looked the coolest, basically,
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
on my team. And I had the dream team I wanted, and I finally got it at the end.
Wow.
And it was just amazing fun.
Yeah.
Just breeding my family of
This is weird.
super monsters.
Oh.
And I think it's a really underrated game.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What was the Jade Cocoon?
Very good question.
Maybe that was answered in
I'm
Jade
gonna look
Cocoon
it right
1.
now.
That's a
I'm gonna
very
look it
good
right
question.
now. What is the Jade Cocoon?
But the guy you play as in Jade Cocoon 1, Levant, he's like
Yeah.
a little kid in Jade Cocoon 1.
Yeah.
He's like the wise sensei, like ultimate cocoon master in
Right.
Jade Cocoon 2, and he's
Right.
the guy who teaches you everything.
Yeah.
And spoilers,
Oh,
spoilers for Jake-Cocoon 2, he turns out to be like the main bad guy in Jake-Cocoon 2.
What?
Like, he
What,
goes.
so the player you play as in the character you play as in Jake-Cocoon 1 turns bad in Jake-Cocoon 2.
Yeah, he's the
That's
ultimate
good
bad guy in
twist.
number 2.
Good
Yeah.
twist. I like it.
Yeah.
Still don't know what the Jake-Cocoon.
What's the
is.
Jake-Cocoon, Holly?
Wiki doesn't have the answer.
No one knows.
No one knows.
But you
What
have
is
got
the
to
Jade
But
Cocoon?
you have got to become the cocoon master. So maybe
Cocoons
the Jade
are the
cocoon
things.
is the thing you get.
The cocoons are the things you trap the monsters in.
Maybe the Jade one is like the master ball.
Maybe. I didn't play Jake-Cocoon 1. I played a demo
Right.
of it. I think it was on PS1, Jake-Cocoon 1.
Right.
Played a demo of it. Played the demo many, many times.
Yeah.
But I had no spending power at that time. And
You have whatever your parents will buy you.
my parents didn't ever buy me Jake-Cocoon, so
No.
I never played it, sadly. But Jake-Cocoon 2 I did play.
And here we are.
And here we are talking about it 15 years later.
I prefer Mad Max.
You not played Jake-Cocoon 2 though, have you?
I just know.
But you've not played Mad Max.
Stop.
I have,
Okay,
actually.
never mind. Then that my point's done.
Jake-Cocoon 2 is better than Mad Max.
Yeah.
Do you remember Nathan's Par Corner?
No, I remember the park corner.
It was like a
Old Friday feature.
a very old in-joke
my
in Friday
God, do you
features,
remember
and
that?
it lasted maybe 2 or 3 episodes. And you just, I think it was when Dying Light was coming out, and you were just obsessed with parkour, but
And
you
I
were
was like-
obviously very bad at it.
Like jumping around.
Yeah, it was
just
just like a real nice wall
somersaulting through the shot
Oh,
for no
man.
reason. And you had Nathan's Par Corner, where you'd just be
Doing parkour in a
doing
corner.
parkour in the corner.
I remember.
In the car park.
I remember
Park corner.
Well, I did the corner of the Yogscast office that we did that in. Yeah.
Corridor.
That
That's
is
all
the-
we had.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah,
The corridor
the
that-
studio, as we used to call it. Yeah.
The area that no one ever went to unless we were filming in it, in which case there were
Yeah.
just safety inspectors that needed
Exactly.
to go through it. Just
Recarpeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
I'm reviving this in-joke, especially now Nathan is really old and has a bad back. Tell us about your own underappreciated favourites in the comments, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and join us again next week for another Tuesday checklist.